Welcome. Here's another little snack by Rooftop Ministries. I'm Pastor Ray. You know, there are always storms out there. This area we just had a little wind and rain from Ian. Florida got total slam up from it. And in life we have storms. And it's like, why would God put me through this? Why would He do this? Why would I suffer? Why allow this to happen? Even though Jesus said in John 15, I believe John 15 or 14, I'm just saying this off the top of my head, I wasn't planning to say that first. He says, in this world you have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So, you will have trouble. But there's a lot of storms, and there's a story in Mark 4. And I'm not going to just say it isn't on the storm in Mark 4. Because it's just a little devotional. And they're crossing the Sea of Galilee. And he just performed these miracles. He's crossing the Sea of Galilee, and he was sleeping, taking a nap. He was slam worn out from preaching. If you ever done any preaching or was talking, it's exhausting. You put so much emotions and energy and spirit, in it. It's tiring. And the storm came up, and his disciples said, it's 38, verse 38, it says, and yet Jesus himself was in the stern, asleep on the cushion, and they woke him and said to him, Teacher, you do not care that we are perishing? And verse 39, and he got up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Hush, be still. And the wind died down, and it became perfectly calm. Verse 40, why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? That shows right there the storm didn't come from God. Because if it came from the Father, Jesus would not have rebuked it. Because Jesus would not rebuke the Father. The storm is from the devil. And then he criticizes the faith. He said, hey, God's got you. My Father's got you. You have no faith. He's got a purpose for you. He's not going to let you go until you fulfill your purpose. And Jesus recognized where this storm came from. Why would Satan send a storm? Why would Satan try to stop him? Look at chapter 5. There's 3 big miracles in chapter 5. First thing, as soon as they get off the boat, verse 1, they came to the other side of the sea, into the region of Gerasene. When he got out of the boat, immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him. He lived among the tombs, and no one was able to bind him anymore, not even with a chain, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, and the chains had been apart by him, and shackles broken in pieces, and no one was strong enough to subdue him. When we go on down, when Jesus started talking to the Spirit, in verse 8 he says, for he had already been saying to him, come out of the man, ye unclean spirit. And he was asking him, what is your name? And the man said to him, my name is Legion, for we are many. The demon spoke, we are legion. So, why was there a storm? Because the devil knew and get out on the other side, he was going to cast out those demons. But it didn't stop there. You go on down, 21, he had crossed over again in the boat to the other side. A large crowd gathered around him and stayed by the seashore. And one of the synagogue officials named Jairus came upon him, fell at his feet and pleaded with him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Please come and lay your hands on her, so that she will get well and live. And then on the way, he was on the way to Jairus' house to heal the daughter. And a woman had been hemorrhaging for 12 years and had endured much of the hands of many physicians. And she spent all that she had, was not helped all, but instead had become worse. So, my theologian was saying she was bleeding, almost like the period bleeding and stuff like that, and that kind of stuff is scary. It's a lot of bleeding. Um, I've seen it before, and my wife, and she about passed out, and ended up having to have surgery, which back then they didn't do that. And she'd been dealing with it for 12 years. I don't know how that happened. She dealt with that. Well, she touched the garment, and Jesus, I was like, "Who touched my garment?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing in on you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" He looked around to see the woman who had done this. But the woman, fearing and trembling, aware of what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be cured of your disease." That's number 2 miracle. Jesus healed the woman. And it going down even more. And so someone came to the synagogue official and said, "Your daughter has died. Why bother the teacher further?" But Jesus, overhearing what was being spoken, said to the synagogue officials, "Do not be afraid, only believe." And he allowed no one to accompany him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. So then they came to the official house, people crying, weeping, somebody, when the loved one had died. And he said, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child has not died, but is asleep." And they began laughing at him, put him all aside. They thought, "Hey, this child is obviously dead." Well, Jesus went in there, said to her, "Talitha cum," which translated means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." And the girl rose from the grave. The girl that did the death, she was 12 years old. So, the devil was trying to keep these things from happening. If he said, "Oh, we can stop them, get them turned around for them stone," these miracles won't happen. And we're still studying these miracles today, reading them. People are inspired by these miracles. To this point, thousands of people have been inspired and given hope from reading these stories. So, the storm was sent to keep Jesus doing the work of God, trying to stop Jesus from fulfilling God's purpose for him. And it goes even further than that. A couple years later, Jesus was crucified on the cross. The devil did not want that to happen, and he rose from the grave. Which, because of that, we are not under law, and we have a way to accept Christ and get to heaven. Satan was trying to prevent all of that. And Jesus knew it, and he rebuked it. So, when we come to storms in life, and we're like, "Why am I going through this? I can't overcome it." The storm was sent to you to stop you, to prevent you from doing the purpose of God, to prevent you. You rebuke the storm, tell it to be still, and move forward. And no matter how bad the suffering is, Romans 8, and this is going to be the last verse I quote. 8:18 says, "For I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us." No matter how bad you're suffering, no matter how bad severe the storm is, and if anybody in Florida sees this is maybe you get inspired from this. There's something better on the other side. God is going to perform miracles through you. You're going to affect people. He's going to affect people through you, and he will use you. And if Satan does nothing, wants to stop you. The whole goal in life Because Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for the good of those who love God and to those who are called according to his purposes. And he's so don't give up. You're victorious. You're an overcomer. And in my last video, we mentioned this. Verse 8:38, 7. I know I said I won't read another verse, and I'm doing it because I have to be obedient. But in all these things, we're overwhelmingly conquerors through him who loved us. Just keep pushing. Don't let the devil stop you from fulfilling the purpose of God, and keep pushing forward. Because God's going to use you, and this is nothing but the devil's trying to stop you. I did it all the time, every day in my life. And if you know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you will too. Because our purpose is to reach the lost. And to help somebody and lift people up. Thanks for watching. And if you like, and just hit the like button on this video with a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. And share this video. And also hit the notification button so you'll know when we drop more videos. We love you. And can't wait to see you again.